Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to LFC Transfer Room's live stream for tonight. I am joined by the fountains of knowledge that are West. Hello.
I'm good. I'm good. Lovely.
How are you doing? You okay?
Ah, I'm okay. I am okay.
You okay? What about you, Kings? How's life?
Yeah, it's good. It's could have been better after last night, obviously, but yeah, life in general's okay. Football wise, I know we have to talk about it because it's it's that's what it's about. But it's yeah, it could be better football wise, but yeah, in general, doing okay, mate. How about yourself?
Oh, no one ever asks me. I'm good, thank you. I say I'm good. I feel like this might be a bit therapeutic for me, spending the next hour talking about the result of yesterday. For everyone
I'm
else,
looking at your top, mate. I like your top.
you enjoying that? Yeah.
No, I'm liking your top that you got on your retro.
Is West in a rave? What's going on? What's going on? He sounds well more popular than I could ever be. Hear that noise
Oh,
coming from
I'm
the
coming. I'm
background?
coming. I'm on my way.
You do whatever you want, Wes. It's your show. You do what you want. For everyone else who's kind of joining us, if you could follow us on our socials, it'd be fantastic if you could subscribe, like, and hit the notifications so you can see the expert insight of Kings and West each week. But for the nearly 500 people watching, thank you for joining us. West, I can't get past opening with the game yesterday. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did. I watched the game. Like it was a game I was looking forward to. Like there was City games, but then personally, oh God, like it's one of those games where like you have to take your chances to win. Because I feel like we had like better chances for us to win the game. So like the first half, Jota, like for me, I think he disappointed all of us because we know Jota as the clinical guy, as the go-to guy. And like yesterday for him, it was like we were just 2-1. Then I saw because we were showing highlights of the 2-1 of the Oli Watkins goal. Then we're on the break and I see Jota, I'm like, okay, yeah, come on, Jota. Then he just guided. I'm like, oh my God. Like I had question marks. I started panicking, to be honest. I was very scared. I'm like, oh, are we gonna lose this game? And then Trent Arnold pops up with the 2-2 goal. I was like, okay, let's get on. And then the highlight of the moment, Nunes in a bad way. Like I was like, okay, now this is where I gave up. I lost hope. I was like, you know what? Yeah, if it's time to go, it's time to go. Like I tried. I said I give you 6 months, I give you this season, and now these are the type of games that are costing us because I felt like only I look at Liverpool. If they scored the third goal, we're gonna be comfortable. Slotter's gonna shut up shop, bring in Endo, defend until the pressure, and then we're gonna survive. But then now 2-2 because now like I looked at the Aston Villa last chance. Um the player he almost scored, Mali, something like that. He went out wide, and I was like, oh my God, if this game ended 3-2, this game, what is it gonna be worse, to be honest?
I thought Mallon's chance at the end was, you could hear the commentators going how close it. Yeah, but I don't think it was as close as it was kind of like making out. Also, Allison was across anyway, wasn't he? But Kings, how traumatic was the game for you yesterday?
I've got to be honest, Craig, right? I've said this many times on different shows, right? I'm older and I'm wiser now, right? So I don't get too hyped, which is different if it's a cup final, etc. But a general game, I don't get too hyped. And normally, whatever the result, I've learned nowadays just to turn off and, be quite calm about it. But yesterday, last night, it's one of them that I was a bit nervous going into the game because you're thinking, well, Aston Villa, not a bad side, obviously. And then, of course, the weekend we've got City. So you're thinking, like, 2 tough away games. And when we took the lead, I was like, okay, normal service. We're okay here. This is going to be 2-3-1, maybe something like that. And then by half time, I was slumped on the settee thinking, what the hell is going on? It just seemed, I don't know, we just sat back and just said to them, go on, then have a go if you want. And they took their chance. Fair play to them. Watkins took his. What was happening with Slobberslide for one of the goals when he headed it, like when you just knock it out for a corner or anything, do you know what I mean? It was like, what are you doing? And then, okay, like Wes said, Trent got the equalising goal. And I was like, okay, we'll go on and win this now. But Jota was having just a nightmare in front of goal, as Wes said. And then, obviously, as we know, Darwin Núñez, well, I don't know. I don't even know why he bothers coming on. I've defended this guy for a couple of years, and I was the one at the beginning that said on LFC Transfer Room on the beginning of the season, listen, maybe Slot can come in, just tweak his game a little bit, and he's going to be fantastic for us. Well, he's just as bad. Doesn't matter who the manager is. It's just not working at Liverpool. He'll probably go somewhere else. Even in the Premier League, he'll go somewhere else. He'll probably start banging them in, week out. But for Liverpool, it just doesn't work. And I think the time has come, the end of this season. You've had 3 years, mate. It's time to move on because I'm fed up now.
He seems like he's lost both West and King's support. Before we get into it in a little bit more detail.
To be fair, Craig, I will support him as long as he's got a Liverpool shirt on. I'll always back him.
Yeah.
But I'm still kind of like a bit hungover from last night, and it's like I'm on a downer about it. But if he's playing the weekend and he's leading the line, I will back him because he's got Liverpool shirts on, But
well, I'll read just some quotes from today. It might kind of like aggravate that fuel back up again. Lastly, thank you for joining us, Jay. Welcome, always welcome. I'll read you a quote that Núñez allegedly kind of like put on social media and then deleted quickly after. 2 weeks ago, Darwin was the best. Darwin gave us 3 points, but yesterday I was unlucky enough to miss a goal, and I am once again the worst and the failure. I don't fall, I get back up, and I'm not going to give up. I'm going to give it all up until my last day that I have here in Liverpool. Resilience, with like a muscle emoji. Till my last day at Liverpool. There's been a I don't know if you could read into it a couple of ways. Before we kind of like go into that, I'll also tell you what Arne Slot said for people who didn't see his presser today. So when he was asked about Darwin Núñez, Arne Slot said, you can miss a chance, but you cannot miss out on work rate. It's not the part of the job of a number 9 to slow down in the work rate. It's something that we all talk about. Whenever you ask anyone about Darwin Núñez, and obviously the kind of like the strength that he brings, it's literally his strength, isn't it? His running power, his strength, his effort. And I think that probably gives him a lot of leeway in terms of lack of composure. When we bought him initially, he was bought, wasn't he, on that Benfica away game? Sorry, the Benfica game at Anfield, where he absolutely tethered Van Dijk. Was ghosting past Trent every single time when he was picking it up in that kind of like Henry-esque position. Scored a couple of goals. The one from such an acute angle past Alisson. And you even saw Klopp when he was like applauding on the line as well. I don't feel like we've seen him. I don't feel like since he's come. I think that when you join Liverpool, the weight of the shirt is massive, isn't it? And you've got to have a level of confidence about you and that composure. You see it in Torres, who had that kind of like cheekiness, kind of like, when Vidic kind of like took him out, he was like blowing kisses, wasn't he, and stuff like that. That cockiness that Owen had a little bit as well. Fowler, all our kind of like proper 9s. I've got that composure in front of goal and cockiness. And I don't know, Wes, do you think the shirt's a bit too big for him?
No, not really. Like for me, like I think like a player that joins Liverpool, we actually give them time. We actually be patient with them. It's not like a United, like our rivals, where like they expected the man. We actually give them time. Look at Firmino. Look at Daniel Sturridge. Look at Gino Ronaldo. Look at Sadio Mane. The players that came to the team and done a lot of stuff for us. They got a new number. Firmino's number 9. Like Firmino got killed for less, to be honest. Like Firmino, there was questions about if Firmino, Salah, and Mane are scoring. Firmino's not doing anything, and Firmino is clinical. So that I look at it, I don't think the show is too heavy. It's just him as the player. Like, as I said at the beginning of the video, I gave up on him now. Like, I don't know. As I agree with Kings, I'll still back him up playing against City. He scores the winner. I'm taking my shirt off. I'm celebrating. But then that's for the moment. But then overall, I'm still questioning him. Like, I don't think the show is heavy. We've seen Salah, a flop of the Premier League, coming back to Liverpool. Why? He's our talisman. So I don't think like Liverpool. I know there's pressure in Liverpool, but it's only when you perform. Because when you stop performing, when you're missing chances, that's when now we're looking at you a bit silent. But I think us as a fan base, we give players patience to grow. We give players a chance to to prove themselves. Look at Chiesa. We're patient with him because we know he came back from a long-term injury. We're giving him his time. But then the moment Chiesa starts playing and then he starts looking like he's messing up, then there'll be question marks. But then for Nunes, you've been here for 3 seasons. We're giving you chances after chance. Sometimes you missed a goal where there's no one in the pole and you hit the post. Like, we've given you chance after chance. Like, for me, I don't think it's the shirt. I just look at him as a player. Like, I don't know, is it the environment? Do you want to leave? Maybe if he goes to Spain, he might bang goals. Cool, do that. But then for my team, it's like for you, I'm looking at you like I can't. So like yesterday, I almost collapsed, to be honest. Like, no.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better now. I hope you feel better now. Darwinism, I think it's called. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Jay kind of hits the nail on the head a little bit. He kind of highlights, he was, when the camera panned out, didn't it, at full time, and you saw him laughing. And I think from the get, so when I kind of, before I get there, Kings, is the shirt too big?
Possibly. I think I look at him, the more I see him, the more I think he should be playing on the left, not as a central striker. But of course, with Diaz and Gakpo on the left, he struggles for game time there. It's a difficult one because if we just, and I know they do their research and etc. If we bought him just based on the Benfica game, then it was a silly buy, really, because as we've seen him against Newcastle last year, and obviously a couple of weeks ago, like he was saying himself, he can be the hero, and anyone can be the hero for a couple of games. It's doing it consistently. Yeah, I think it probably is. I suppose we're, as like any football team, we will compare our number 9s to former number 9s. That's the way it goes. Oh, he's not as good as Fowler or Owen or Torres, etc., because he isn't performing like that. Any striker that we've had, I mean, we look at Salah, and I mean, of course, he's been amazing, but he's technically a winger. He's not a striker, is he? He's a winger who just happens to be so fantastically world class that we've got him, and he's brilliant. It's a real difficult one because I just don't think he's up to the job at Liverpool, and it's a shame, to be honest. I mean, look at it another way. We're now having a go, not having a go maybe, but analysing what's wrong. Let's just say we've got, 12 games left in the league. Let's just say it's unlikely, but he scores 7 or 8 goals and he helps us get over the line. People won't care. They'll just be, he's done it. He's helped us. He's a hero. Give him his medal. We've got the Premier League. We're not bothered kind of attitude. You know? So things change very quick in football. If he scored a hat-trick against City on the weekend, again, very unlikely, but, wishful thinking, isn't it? But if he did, we'd just be going, yeah, don't worry about Villa. He scored a hat-trick. We've got that's how football is, isn't it? It's so up and down, but it's probably the pressure on his shoulders is quite immense, to be honest. And when he misses, it's glaring because it's in front of the stadium and millions of fans.
I think it's interesting, isn't it, the manager's 9s, because when you look at Benitez when he was with us, the standout 9 that he wanted the whole time was Fernando Torres, wasn't it? And I think his record in La Liga at the time wasn't amazing.
No.
But then he kind of came to us and just absolutely caught fire, didn't he?
I was going to say, imagine a Torres or somebody in this lineup now with the creation and.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking. So you've got kind of like Benitez, and you've got kind of like the Torres 9 who can just be left alone, can make a goal out of not, like that famous San Siro game away against Inter Milan. We were getting them mauled, and he just took it from nowhere, didn't he, on the half volley, won us the game. Bullied Ferdinand and Vidic on his own, bouncing them off, which gave Gerrard like a pocket of space. And for a couple of years, it was Torres leading the line with Gerrard sitting about 5 years behind. 5 yards behind. And then when you kind of go into the Klopp era, we'll forget about Rodgers, but when you kind of like go into the kind of like Klopp era, and he's gone for the Firmino type role. So that the number 9 in Firmino, he just redesigned it, didn't he? It was a number 9 who, his goal record wasn't that bad actually. I mean, there's some similarity to Nunes' stats, but we won't go there for now. But with Firmino, it was kind of like he'd drop 20, 25 yards. You could see that fleet of foot. There's the famous meme, isn't there? You can still see it on Twitter now, where he's got Roberto Salado in the corner and he does that little pirouette and goes round him. And we had all that beautiful kind of footwork that allowed Mane and Salah just to cut in like raptors, effectively. And that became the 9. And then you look at Arne Slot. So the way we play in kind of like keeping the ball in the middle, spray it out, spray it back, and it's just kind of like that gradual move upfield. Salah thrive, and you could put him in Bournemouth, couldn't you? He'd still be kind of banging 20 goals in a season. But I don't know what 9 Arne Slot needs. I don't think a Firmino would quite work because Salah hasn't quite got that pace, has he, to kind of like get in behind as much. And he had Mane at the other side, was just on fire, constantly going at it. So you don't have that pace, which is why he went for Anthony Gordon when he first kind of like came in. And then do you think Torres, like Kings, you alluded to, kind of like would a Torres, somebody who can just hold it up on his own, manipulate the back four? I don't know.
Quite an intelligent player. I don't know, to be honest. It's a difficult one. Like I say, I don't think he's an out-and-out striker like Torres, like Fowler, Owen, etc. So I think that's where he struggles. But, in saying all that, yesterday that chance he had should have burst the net, been in the stand, and off to Mars with that kick. It should have been so much in the net and then bursting it because it was so powerful. And none of us can obviously believe that it didn't. And I think because it was a glaring kind of miss, really, and it was on a plate for him, even Slaughter's basically said it was there. What more could you want? He's played it to him, put it in the net. And yet he skied it. And even as Wes said, with Jota in the first half, you at least put money on him getting it on target, and he skied it off towards the corner flag. And you think, what is going on with our strikers at the moment? It's just one of them, isn't it? Like I say, any other day that could have been 2, 3, 4-0. Again, Aston Villa could have scored at the end. It could have been a 3-3 draw. It could have gone so many different ways, weirdly. But it's just, it's disappointing that we're dropping points when really you need it to be, top notch. But
it's never an easy game, is it, away to them, especially the firepower they've got. I thought Asensio done a good job of being like invisible in that first half for them. I didn't see sight or sound of Asensio for them. I was terrified he was going to hit one from like 20, 30 yards. West, what goes through your head when Szoboszlai is running clean through and plays a 5-yard pass across to Nunes? Do you think it's going to ready mid-celebration?
No, I thought I thought I see people even blaming Szoboszlai, even in the group chat, like Szoboszlai should have shot. I'm like, come on, like if Szoboszlai shot, we're gonna be like, oh, Szoboszlai, he's selfish, he couldn't pass, Nunes was open. He chose the best option there. Like everyone agreed that was the best. So I was like, okay, I'll believe it was like with Nunes, I don't celebrate, to be honest, truthfully. I just wait. But then with Salah has a goal, I'm like, oh come on, it's a goal. Penalty, I don't even watch the penalty sometimes. But then I thought maybe he was going to score, and then I saw his skyrocket. I'm like, oh god! Because I thought that time if he scored, I thought personally the game was won. I thought we're done. Sit back now, defend. And then he misses. I'm like, oh my god! I was like, what's going? As agreed Kings, like, what's going on with our strikers? Because like Jota was supposed to be the clinical one, Nunes was supposed to be the work rate one. So and then both of them are not even doing any of that. It was a bit concerned. I was like, oh my god! Like, do you want to go? Because I look at it like I expected Nunes or Jota to raise their hands and say, you know what, Slot, I'm going to score for you. I want to start against City. None of them did. If Gakpo comes back, we know Diaz is going to go back to the 9. And I don't like seeing that. So now I'm going to have to deal with the reality of Diaz on the 9 because my 2 strikers are not scoring goals for me. And I expected them to raise their hands up when Gakpo is out. I'm here, Slot. Trust me. I'm going to score goals for you. Start me against City. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if I see Gakpo, Diaz, and Salah in the starting 11, to be honest. So I was, oh my god, I couldn't believe it.
You nearly passed out, didn't you? Kings, what about yourself? You convinced it was in?
I was already halfway off the settee. And then you start with he's missed. It's like how, and then you start the cursing of how on earth can you miss that? Even I could score that, and I can't play football. I got 2 left feet.
I thought it had got so basically my eldest son has control of the telly a little bit, so I have to watch part of it on my phone, and then when he goes to bed, kind of like switch over. So I'm watching it on my phone with the sound like quite down. And then I was convinced it had gone in. So because I didn't see Nunes celebrating, I thought the linesman must have had his flag up. So I was watching it thinking, but the camera isn't doing what it usually does, that kind of director's angle straight to the line. I was going, and then you see Slot kind of looking fuming. I was saying, what? And I couldn't. The last thing on my mind was that he missed. The thing with you know, there was a bit of slight bit of criticism was about Szoboszlai in the past when he could have went through on goal himself. I think everything about Szoboszlai is confidence except his ability on the pitch, isn't it? At times it's just like he's got the height, the athleticism. Go on.
Yeah. Well, the problem with Szoboszlai going through, if he'd have shot, like Wes said, you know, it's kind of like, well, he's a midfielder. If he'd have missed it, people have said it was there for Darwin on the plate. Why didn't you play the pass?
Yeah.
So he plays the pass and goes, right, it's there, it's perfect. And we still didn't score. So it's like, whichever scenario plays out, there was going to be criticism because we didn't get it in the net. That's the way it is. So I just wanted to, I'll come back to it. Just remind me when you finish chatting about this to bring in Chiesa. But we'll talk about him in a little bit because I'm frustrated he's not even getting on the field.
I feel like I want to do it now, though.
Okay, that's fine.
Tell me about him. Tell me about your frustrations.
I know, like, when we have our chats behind the scenes and like, I know Stephen's in there and he's like, yeah, he's Salah's understudy and all this. And I get that. And he didn't cost an arm and a leg, but we know he can be a quality player. And it looks like at the moment, touch wood, his injury issues are behind him and he's getting match fit, etc. But okay, he played against Plymouth, but he's not getting much of a chance in the Premier League. And I think this might be controversial and I'm sure I'm going to get slated for it, but I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway, right? Why didn't they take somebody like, let me say, Curtis Jones, take him off and put Chiesa maybe as the playmaker behind the three? Just trying to thread in a nice ball, even if it was for 10 minutes at the end. So you still got Szoboszlai behind doing the hard work, but giving him chance just instead of being a winger, just going, he's got an eye for a pass. So it's like, well, just try him somewhere else. And just say, you know, he could have threaded it through to somebody on their toes. It was bang, it was in. It's like he's not getting a chance at all. Whether Slot likes him or not, I don't know, because Edwards could have just said, you're having him, and it's tough because he's a head coach, not a manager of the team as such, isn't he? So he could have just been told, well, we're getting him, and it's hard luck. And I'm like, even Harvey Elliott on the bench, he's sitting there. You can see he's got a face like thunder because he's not getting the chance. And he seems to rotate particular subs. You know, again, I'm going off topic. Like Trent, he just scored. He's like, come on to everybody in the stands like this. And then Slot goes, right, get off and putting Bradley on. It's like, I don't understand them. I'm not slagging Arne Slot off at all. I think he's been amazing for Liverpool in his first season for what he's done. I just don't understand with the Chiesa thing. He's a quality player, and maybe, just maybe, we could have 10 or 15-minute cameo in a different role slightly. I wouldn't have took Salah off, never. So I don't want to get the wrath of Stephen because I'm not taking him off. But I just think, well, just would he have worked somewhere else just to thread a pass through and try? It might have just done something different to what we were trying anyway.
Case got like a bit of Suarezism about him, hasn't he? He's just like, he's quite relentless. He's quite like unbelievably direct. We were quoted with getting him 2 summers before we did, and we got quoted £110 million, 110 million euros at the time. And then fast forward 24 months, we get him in for around 10. An absolute. I was highlighting the comment that kind of like Jay highlighted as you were talking, highlighted the Cases and Edwards type investment sign, and that Slot obviously doesn't trust. Just like many of the saying that Klopp did not trust.
Yeah.
Elliott struggles. No, go on.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that obviously Lasidi and Jamie Hughes have said in there that Jones worked hard and he was probably one of the better players on the pitch. I wasn't picking on him per se. I'm just saying, I take Szoboszlai off and leave Jones on. I wasn't saying he'd play bad. He played really well. I just mean near the end of the game, why didn't he just try to change it around a little bit different to what he did? That's all it is. It's not having to go at Jones at all, because I'm not singling anyone out. It's not fair,
I thought Jones done all right. I don't think there was many players that kind of like filled themselves with glory yesterday. I know kind of West kind of alluded to Jota as well. When he first broke through on the Slot, under Klopp, and it was kind of like the high octane, fast football. He could just get on the end of something. He was thriving, wasn't he? And it kind of makes me think about Nunes, and I think it was yourself, Kings, that highlighted about the environment for Nunes and how he can thrive. So obviously in Portugal, he has that one standout season, really, where he absolutely is going flying. It seems like we jokingly call him Captain Chaos, don't we? But I think one of the issues is Slot's football isn't chaotic. It's measured.
This is it, isn't it? Yeah, it is
measured, composed, and even under Klopp, Nunes was struggling a bit. There was a period of time, 10, 15 games, he was put in what you said, the left-hand side, to try and give him a bit more space. And I think when Slot was questioned about it, he said, didn't he, it just gives him a little bit more space on the side. I think if he goes to a league like Italy, where his pace gets him gets him into moments of like a lot more space around him, the tempo is nowhere near as fast, and he can have a little bit of a think about what he's going to do next, because it doesn't seem to just come natural. And other than the game Newcastle away, when we were down to 10 men under Klopp last year, which was chaotic, and he banged 2 goals in, basically the same goal, wasn't it? It was just put straight down the side.
Yeah.
I can't think of many composed. We had it was the game before Atlanta. It was in Moscow. We played Moscow, and he scored a goal from like 25 yards. And then I can't think of many games Nunes has played where you look back and think, what a performance.
Well,
and that's mad after 3 years.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's just the manager before, like you say, was high octane, and I know he gets the tag of, or he had the tag of Captain Chaos, and a few times he'd come on and cause such a scare to all the defenders. It allowed somebody else to score, and so I think that's what people thought. He's like, well, put him on. He's just going to create mayhem, and eventually we're going to get something out of this. But I think even that is dying off a little bit, and maybe the club have just got to hold their hands up. And as a person, he comes across as a nice guy, to be fair. He does smile quite a lot. I didn't see him smiling after the game. I didn't take any notice. Like I said, I just turned it off. I'm not bothered. It doesn't really rile me up or anything like that. It's a case, yes, should he walk around with his lip out because he's missed his goal for a week now? He's just, well, this is it, isn't it? Until the Man City game, and then if he comes on a sub, he's smiling again, possibly. I don't know. Mercedes said there, he's quite erratic. He does some fantastic runs and a pass, and you think that's amazing. Then for the rest of the game, he'll do nothing. Or the other way around, he'll do nothing for half an hour, then he's great for half an hour, getting in people's faces. Whether he's consistent enough to be a top-end Liverpool player when they're going for the league title, probably not. It's just one of them we've got to maybe by the summer call it quits and go, listen, you've had 3 seasons, mate. It's not like a 3-month thing. It's kind of like, it hasn't worked out. Bite the bullet, go out and get a proper, or say to Slot, what would he want? Because he hasn't really bought a player yet. He's gone with Klopp's side and just said, let's see how we get on. Got to January and still said, no, but all right, let's keep going. I have a lot of respect and admiration for that, because people could say at the end of this, if Liverpool win the title, oh, he did it with Klopp's side. And it's like, I don't care whose side it is, as long as the trophy's going round on the bus at the end. I'm not bothered.
Didn't look bad on Paisley's CV, though, did it?
Well, this is it. I just hope that maybe come the summer, they back him at least enough that he goes, right, okay, I want to change X, Y, and Z. These are the players I want. And if it means a new striker or a new forward player, whatever they're called nowadays, I hope they get it, or get this person. And we can just put this behind us. It's just not working out. It's not a vendetta against the guy at all. It's just not working at Liverpool.
I think what's strange for us is because, Brighton aside, because they're just something else, aren't they? I can't think of many other teams that get much more success than us out of a transfer window. Like literally everyone we get pretty much is on point. Even you look at Endo, who was brought in as effectively like a squad player when he kind of came in. Everyone just hits the ground running. But Leslie's comments ringing to me as they mention how erratic it is, so erratic. And like when he first came and he scored that little flick, and then I think it was against Fulham, wasn't it? Craven Cottage. He scored that little kind of like heel through his legs kind of thing, and then 20 minutes later butts someone, and you think, and then you think, okay, well, Suarez had his moments. I'm not comparing them. Suarez had his moments, and then you kind of think of when Uruguay was playing in Copa America, he's jumping into the stadium, into the fan. We didn't hear anything else of that. Maybe for the best. We didn't really hear anything else of that. He is so erratic, and I think unless you're a team that's like a Simeone, ball lumped up, constant fighting, chaotic, I think he'd thrive. But Slot is not that manager, is he?
No, he's more measured, a lot more measured.
A lot more measured. West, we were just talking about I was going to say erraticism. I don't know if that's a word. I don't claim to be good. I don't claim to be amazing at the English language. Núñez being erratic. You agree?
Yeah, I do agree with what you guys are saying. Like as you said, like you made a good point. He's a Diego Simone player, and I watch Atletico Madrid, and I see like Núñez could fit there. You know, like he could fit like the Premier League. Like Slot, as we all come and say here, Slot is a calm manager. Like he's a calm, collected. He builds position. He doesn't do the erratic top stuff. But then, like for me, like I can't be making excuses for Núñez. Like saying he's erratic, he's erratic. Oh my God, my English. But then I can't. Your word, you said I can't make the excuse over him because like sometimes like I expect those chances that he had score them. Like the thing that's killing Núñez is that people always say he scores the hardest chance ever from outside the box, then he misses a tap in. I'm lost. Like sometimes, like you see after yesterday, I'm lost. And like I agree what Kings made a point about Chiesa. I was also talking to one of my friends about like at least bring on Chiesa to just try and change something, try something. This thing of Nunes, it's not working. Just bring on Chiesa. Like Chiesa hasn't done anything wrong. Of course, the Plymouth game has maybe shown him a bit not trusty, but then like give him another chance. Elliot also like, of course, like Elliot in the Plymouth game he didn't play well, but then at least offer something because I question where he played all of our four midfielders at the same time. For me, I question it. I'm like, why are you playing them at the same time? At least now. And I thought maybe when you played four of them, I thought Elliot was gonna get a game time, and he didn't. So, but then just I spoke to the Núñez point. I don't know really. Like I'm just like I like the guy. He smiles a lot. I agree with Kings, but then like sometimes just cut your losses. To be honest.
You made comment then, didn't you, West, about he scores like the ones you don't expect him to when he misses the ones you do. But I don't see him scoring the ones I don't expect him to either at the moment.
No.
The ones he does bang in, you know, you think about kind of his last couple in the Premier League have generally been scrappy. It's not like really calm. You think of Gakpo is constantly like cutting in, curling into the corner. You can think headers diving in at the back post. I can't really think of much. And I'm similar to yourself, Kings. As long as they've got the shirt, you support them. But it feels like I don't know if that was the straw yesterday. I don't know. The fan base does seem to be angry, and I don't know. You know, we kind of think about why does Núñez get so much attention? West kind of highlighted how he's smiling at the end of the game, or he's just kind of like walking off. I think the moment as well, Slot was alluding to, was straight after he missed that sitter, which was a sitter, wasn't it? I can't. Second, he missed that sitter, and then who was it for them who picked up the ball in the middle? I don't know if it was Rodgers, and Slot and Núñez just walks back and just lets him walk past them, and you could see like I haven't seen that Núñez before. I haven't seen him not chase the runner down. Like that's the least he does, and that's why he's still got the chance at Anfield, hasn't he? Of kind of chanting him regularly. But now if you do stuff like that, we spoke before about kind of like we're not really too sure what Arne Slot's 9 is. But if you were to do it, if you were to pick a 9 currently in world football, football manager time, and the chat can get involved as well. Who would you want to come in as a 9? I can guarantee that most people will put a certain Newcastle striker beginning with I. But other than Isaac, which might be the name you were going to say, who else is out there? Who would you bring in with our style of play? Now we're getting 3/4 through the season, we're getting acclimatized to Slot's football. Who would you bring in as a 9? Wes, would you? Oh, no, go on, Kings.
No, I was going to say, okay. I really am not sure. It's a hard one because, as we've said, Slot has this team from the Klopp era, so we don't really know yet. Unless you look back at Feyenoord, you don't really know yet what kind of player he likes. He's just working with what he's got. So he could be behind the scenes saying to Edwards and Hughes, listen, I like X as a player. And it might be a complete curveball to us. And that's the problem. We don't really know what kind of striker, winger, etc., forward player he wants, because he's never shown anything so far at Liverpool because he's just used the players he's been given. Yeah. I think there'll definitely be changes. I know there's a couple of things in the chat here that people have said that we're looking for a midfielder and we're going to look for a striker potentially. And I think there will be a few changes in the summer, and some of those on the peripheral will disappear. That happens in football every season anyway, but especially when a new manager's had a proper, even if they win the league title, you know, the old thing with Liverpool, and it should be the mantra of any other team, is you always strengthen. Don't rest on your laurels. You can't just go with what you've got. Now, like I say, I've contradicted that by saying, well, Slot's gone with what he's got, but only because he was new and he knew he was coming into a top-class side. So he's definitely going to strengthen in the summer. Alvarez, I can see there. I don't think you get a swap. Somebody's swapping for Darwin. I don't think he's going to get a swap. But, you know, yes, I can see the sentiment
absolutely driving, isn't he, Alvarez, against Spain?
It's such a hard one until Slot really shows his hand of, you know, and we all want Salah to stay. But at the same time, it might just get to the summer and they go, listen, hopefully we've won the Premier League and he's moving on because the contract doesn't materialise. And it allows Slot then to say, right, we're saving so much money, but I can bring in X, Y, and Z, and I've reshaped the front, you know, forward line so much that it's unrecognisable next season. I don't really know what to expect because it's so much up in the air at the moment with the amount of money that could be saved, or is he going to tweak it and just go, no, we're pinning Salah down and we're getting just one striker in and it's going to work like this? So, to be honest, I can't really answer for you, Craig, after all that waffle, because I'm just like, I don't know. It's such a difficult summer coming up, I think, for Arne Slot.
Massive one, isn't it? We'll touch on it in a minute. Yesterday, highlights about De Ketelaere from Atalanta. I think the issue is his pace as well. And he looks slow in Italy. That's probably not a good.
It's not a good sign, then, is it?
My mate says he's one of the, you know, youth team scouts at Liverpool, and he kind of says that they're just told go for pace. Even at youth age, go for pace. They've got to be quick. And when I was a lad, it was all about kind of size and power, wasn't it? You know, but nowadays it's pace, and we understand why it's the quickest league in world football. Really, West, who'd you go for? Who would you bring it to? Your Football Manager, you've just loaded up your LFC save. Who'd you bring in as your number 9?
Like, to be honest, of course, the stuff we said about Nunes, but I actually agree with Kings too. Like, I don't know what Slot's 9 is. I don't know. No. People say Santiago Guimaraes from AC Milan, but I don't know which Slot. And like, and everything's up, as King said. And King said, like, everything is up for us in the air, the contracts, who Slot wants, so I don't know. So I think that the talk for new 9 was like Slot can say, you know what, I don't want to Isak, and we say we want to Isak. Slot can say, you know what, give me maybe a Liam Delap. He can say his type of 9, like it's his choice. So like, I don't know what type of 9 Slot wants. People are saying Isak. We never know which Slot. This is his team now. So like, if he has to bring in a 9, I'm sure he's gonna choose his 9 and how he will suit his 9 in the game. So I really don't know. Like, I hope everything gets solved. I hope the contract also gets solved, because like as King said, the contracts are up in the air. We don't know what's going on. So it's just too much at this point.
I think if we go for a Newcastle player, it's not going to be Isaac. I think we'll be going back in for Anthony Gordon. And we'll touch on that in a second. For the 2,500 people watching, we appreciate every single one of you watching. If you could follow us on our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and as I've said before, hit the notifications so you can see West's and King's marvellous insight from all things LFC. When Slot first come in, obviously we've mentioned that he didn't really touch the squad. He wants to, like any good manager should, really try and understand what he's got before he goes out and brings in everyone. However, as the summer kind of materialised, there was two kind of standout names, weren't there? There was Anthony Gordon, where from what we were led to understand, there was a medical that was set up while he was away with England. And the other one was obviously Zubimendi, who, when Paul Drew starts tweeting, it's probably got a little bit of traction, which is why the whole thing about Kadashvili was a bit strange, wasn't it? It was a little bit strange. But yeah, so Slot gets in, he makes initial assessments, and one of the things he looks at is obviously pace. Now, you look at kind of like our attack at the moment. Nunes got pace, but I don't think he's got the game intelligence to go with it. And that's not, I'm going to say that and then say it's not a criticism. It's obviously a criticism. It's just in the Premier League, you don't get that time to consider your options there. You have to pretty much think you have to have a fleet of thought in the role. But I can't think of many players, especially in our attacking positions, that can just fly past the player, especially from wide. So you look at Gakpo, who seems to have nailed down the left wing position. He's not a winger that goes past. He's a winger that cuts in. And then you've got Salah, who kind of like, his game's evolved, hasn't it, over the last 7-8 years, where he's not the Salah that we signed. I'm not saying he's any less effective, but he's not the Salah we signed. The Salah we signed was when Firmino flicked it over at Watford and he outpaced 6 players to come around the back and knock it in. He's not that player anymore. He's become more of a playmaker. Well, he's become everything. I think he's become some playmaker, a bit more... lost the yard, it might be fair to kind of say, but with that, he's developed that outside of the foot passing ability, which is just amazing. So Slot's obviously looked at and thought pace. I think if we went to Newcastle, I don't know, I can't ever see us paying 150 million for an Isaac that blows hot and cold. He doesn't have strong, he doesn't go the season, does he? He'll play 10 amazing games. And then he goes a little bit quiet. I can't see us paying £150 million for him, but I can see us going back in for Gordon. Can you see it happening, Kings? Can you see us going back in?
To be honest, it's yes, I can see him going back in if the interest was there. Hasn't he? Didn't he sign a new deal recently?
Do you reckon that? I thought this, and then I think, do you reckon? I don't know if it was just putting 2 and 2, but do you reckon there's a release clause in it? The Champions
Quite possibly. I think the chances of going back for him probably 60-40, yes. Would he fit in? I think he would.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, he's a boiled Liverpool fan. Is he going to come in here? Now, might be controversial, but Trent's going to leave, so there'd be him and Curtis then as the Liverpoolian lads in the side. And is he going to come in with the thing of, right, I'm a local lad, I'm going to give it my all and be amazing and do his best? Or is he going to come in and go, because I'm a Liverpool lad, they'll just accept me? And I don't know. I'm sure he'll come in and he'll try his hardest because he'll want to impress his boyhood and his current club that he supports. He's made no secret of that.
No.
Whether Newcastle would want to sell him to us is obviously a completely different thing, because it's not like we can go to them and go, we're going to give you X millions. And they go, yeah, we need to take that because we did or we didn't, get, say, they didn't get in the Champions League. Now they're backed by such wealthy owners that they can go, well, no, at the end of the day, we don't need that money so much. And it's kind of we can dodge it for another season. If we don't make Champions League the year after, then maybe they need to sell, that kind of thing. But it's going to be a bit more of a difficult transfer if Liverpool are going to try and do it. I think it'll be harder because Newcastle potentially themselves are starting to pick up a little bit now and could make, especially if they make Champions League themselves, then I don't think there's any chance, to be honest.
I do find the timing strange of him signing that contract because it looks like it's about to happen. and then it falls through, doesn't it? Because they sell Minter to Brighton, so they kind of like get the money in to satisfy financial fair play. So it kind of puts them at ease a little bit. Don't have to sell them, and then there was all these like reports that he was disillusioned at England and stuff. He told players in the locker room that he had his heart set on it and stuff, and then 2 weeks later signs a new deal when they come back from England. So I don't know if that's 2 and 2 and getting 25, but it feels like there might be a clause in there. I think last day he kind of like said, he's just signed a long-term deal, would be super pricey unless there's a clause in it. But we don't know, do we? We're just kind of like coming up with numbers and stuff. I just know that he was the original player that when Slot came in that they were looking at. So he's obviously identified pace in the wing positions. Pace he always had at Feyenoord. West, would that be a transfer that you'd like to see, Anthony Gordon?
Like I've been watching Anthony Gordon, like not like been watching him long, but then like this season, I did watch him, and I watched him against us. Also, he caused us problems, and yeah, like I see him kind of like he might fit in the team. He can fit in the team. I see him as a good player. So I think maybe Liverpool, because like you see, Liverpool's not the type of team that's known for spending hundreds of millions. I think they want to try and avoid the Darwin Nunes mistake where they spent like I think 100 million, 85 million plus add-ons. I think they're trying to avoid that. So like I wouldn't be surprised if they go get a Gordon, then they go get a cheaper striker, like, to be honest. So I do see them going back for Gordon, because now since you said Slots identified him when you got there as like my type of player, I think maybe they'll try and push for him.
Yeah, I agree. We see it's hard with the Nunes one because obviously Edwards et al. Wasn't there, were they, at that time? And, obviously Klopp had a little bit more of a say-so in terms of transfers. How well, Nunes played at that Benfica game at Anfield was unbelievable. It was like prime Ronaldo, wasn't he? I mean, the proper one. Prime Ronaldo in his kind of like pomp. Not the Real Madrid. Well, yeah, the earlier Real Madrid Ronaldo. He looked amazing. And then obviously, being most the dominant feature of this kind of like conversation in terms of what happens with him. But as Jay Jay with his kind of like ear to the street has just kind of like highlighted, I shared it on the page a little bit earlier, just suggesting that David Lynch has put, I think Nunes will 100% leave in the summer. I don't think it's in question. I think it's pretty much nailed on. I'm pretty sure he'll go to Saudi. And then didn't you see there was like stuff online about kind of like he was laughing and joking? Was it with Diaz? Kind of about kind of like Saudi money. So it does feel like there's probably going to be a bit of a clear out, but that's even before considering the free transfer extensions that constantly we talk about every week of Trent, Salah, and Virgil. There was some murmurs earlier, wasn't it, about, I don't know how confirmed they were, about kind of the locker room kind of being a little bit upset that Virgil's deal isn't done yet. Kings, you highlighted before, you think Trent's gone. Do you reckon he's going to go? You're on mute, but you look concerned.
Yeah, sorry. I couldn't find. I was just like, I can't get the button to work. I mean, myself, Kev, Matty, and a few others on different shows have gone over this many times. I do think he's going to leave. The way he turned and celebrated the other day, or last night at Villa, just give me that glimmer. I was like, do you know what? Is he kind of like can't be bothered and he's just going through the motions until the end of the season? It gave me the thing. He had a bit of fight in him, to be fair, and he was up to the crowd, telling him to get behind the team. And I thought, maybe, just maybe. But 85%, I still think he's going to go, to be honest.
I do.
Well, it's a shame. I understand he's had the lure of Real Madrid. I mean, I was looking, I haven't really seen their new stadium. I was looking at clips last night in the halftime of our game, just looking around the top where it's got all the graphics and everything now. And it's like quite impressive. And I can see with Bellingham there, he's a really good friend. I just wondered if he's a bit blind by this, that he thinks, yeah, it's all rosy. And we all know that it only takes 2, 3, 4 games. Look, they loved David Beckham there. As soon as it went off for a few games, they turned on him. They don't give you a lot of time in Madrid. And I just hope and it's still an if he goes, that he isn't like suckered into the thing of, it's going to be amazing and he wants to win, all these awards and everything, and then it just goes south. Because the problem is, even 12 months later, if it didn't work out and they said he's coming back to Liverpool, one, would Liverpool take him? I don't know, because they'd be like, well, we've moved on. And two, would he be that well received? I don't know, because he kind of left us for nothing. I know he's a boyhood lad, so we didn't pay anything for him, but at the same time, he's worth a lot of money technically, isn't he? So it's like, to go for nothing now would be... and there's still people out there who maybe, like McManaman, he went for nothing. And people still go on about that. It's not like it's been forgotten. Yeah. I'm not saying he's disliked, but people don't forget. Because it's like, well, the club could have made a lot of money at that time and they didn't make anything to strengthen the side. So, yeah, answering your question, I do think he will go. And I do believe, just on the point of the other two, I do believe the other two will sign. But that's my thoughts on it.
There was wasn't it Salah's agent who's been sending his usual kind of like cryptic messages out on social media? I think he quoted the I can't remember which Liverpool channel it was, but he quoted it was a picture of the league table and said something like Slot is a good manager. And then you're like, is he saying that because the deal's been done? And he's kind of like, or is he saying it because it hasn't been done?
You never know.
You never know unless it's signed. Oh, West is Trent going?
I saw yesterday he did the passion thing, but then like I don't know. But then I don't want to be disappointed at the end of the season while he's holding a Madrid shirt. So I have to just like wait. The way it's going right now, I think he's going. And I agree with what King says. King's mentioned David Beckham. Let's talk about Gareth Bale. He won them to La Decima, and then he got hated. Even now, he's still hated in Madrid. Even though he won them so much trophies, he won them a 3-in-a-row Champions League. He scored an overhead kick against us. So, like, yes, Madrid, yes, the brand is fun and all, but then, like, their fans demand winning. Their fans demand performances. You remember what happened to Mbappe? The Madrid fans were slating him, and then he turned it around. Luckily. So now, like, yes, it's fun and games as the name brand. Oh, I play for Madrid, cool. But then, like, your performances, like, you see us Liverpool fans, they call us crazy. Madrid side, yeah.
I just on a side note there, Craig, right? I'm just going to say to West, right? The thing with Gareth Bale really sticks in my throat because as a Welshman, I love Gareth Bale playing for Wales. When he scored that goal against Liverpool in his overhead kick, I could have punched his lights out there and then. So I have a real dilemma with Gareth Bale. It depends what shirt he's wearing.
Do you know a lot of Madrid fans took a dislike to Gareth Bale because of the amount of golf he plays?
Yeah. I mean, there's famously a flag he held up after one of the games which said in that order, it says Wales Golf Madrid on it. And I think somewhere somebody's put it out there and said in that order as well. Yeah. And it's like, I think that really got some Madrid fans, got their backs up because they were like, what, we're third after golf?
It can be an incredibly hostile game to play, and this has no relevance towards the chat today. But I remember when Ronaldinho had his first season at Barcelona, and he scored the hat trick away at the Bernabeu, and you could see that it was the first time I'd seen Madrid fans standing up and applauding an opposing player. Yeah. It was like an unbelievable performance. So they appreciate obviously amazing football. But at the same time, like West alluded to, Kylian Mbappe was getting a little bit of criticism. Was it in Marca? He was getting quite a lot, which obviously the spokes newspaper for the club. And now isn't he on 20 goals? He's on 20 goals or something like that. Bangs in a hat trick yesterday. Probably one of the most expensive free transfers you'll ever get in football, back next to Haaland. Okay, and then you think the other two, what West do you reckon Van Dijk and Salah are going to stay?
Yeah, I do. I trust they're going to stay. Like, they're good players, but then they're going to go away, like, to be honest. Like, where are they going to go? Like, their families in Liverpool. Of course, we can play that card, but then, like, come on. Like, you want us a league. Don't you want us at least another league dominate English football? At least, don't you want to be part of the table? Like, to be the greatest defenders? Like, but then, that's up to him. But then I think they both stay, to be honest.
I think it probably says a lot with Real Madrid of what they haven't done. They haven't brought in another right back. They had the opportunity, didn't they, during January, chose not to. So they're playing Valverde at right back, who isn't a right back, is he? And they're playing him there to see the season out. You would have thought that maybe they probably would have went in for some kind of right back during the January if it probably wasn't as advanced as it is. When I think about it, I think Van Dijk's done. I think he's staying. I think that's been done for a long. I think it's been done for a long time, based on no science whatsoever, rather than this kind of like awkward interviews that he gives. Salah was the one I had question marks about, but I do think Trent's gone. It's just a feeling, isn't it? And that's all we've got to play with at the minute.
Something we've discussed on previous shows is, and I'm kind of leaning towards this, and I could be completely wrong because again, there's no science behind it. It's just a guess.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if Salah and Van Dijk are done, and the club is very tight-lipped. Obviously, we know that at the moment, so nothing's got out about it. But I'm thinking if they'd have announced it, even January or whenever, and said, right, these two are done, all we've got left is one, would that upset the apple cart a little bit? Because everybody in a way starts channeling their energy towards Trent, and that could in turn upset the team as they run in. If they'd have been mid-table because it's Slot's first season and we're just so going through the motions trying to build for the new manager, it maybe would have got released and they just said, well, Trent hasn't signed yet. But I just wonder if they are in the bag, and it proves to be this way, it's a great move by the club by not upsetting anything and just concentrating on what they need to do and then going, right, he doesn't want to stay, fair enough, but we wanted to get over the line first. So if it is that, it's a masterstroke. If it isn't that, then it's crap.
Probably, a question we've asked before, but since we've got a couple of minutes left, Jay, I haven't forgot about your question where you said about, would you take a point against City? We'll end with that one. But before we kind of get there, I'll ask another awkward question. If you can keep two and lose one in the contract renewals, which two do you keep and who do you lose? Kings, which two would you like to keep hold of?
I'd go with the two that I've said. I'd give them both. I'm sure they're asking for more, but as their age is, I'd give them both a 2-year deal each, performance related as well, extra bonus maybe if they need it, because I think for the next couple of years, yes, Salah has lost a yard of pace, but he's evolved his game and he could still be critical in the coming years with somebody else. And Van Dijk is just a colossus. I mean, he's like, I don't know anybody else that can come near him at the moment. So it's like, keep them two. If Trent wants to go, I'll be really disappointed, but it'll be like, that'll be the third one I'm not bothered as much about.
I think Van Dijk is just like, he's just like, you summed up best, didn't you, really? Like, after he finishes 90 minutes, he looks like he could just go and play another 90 minutes. He just, not an ounce of sweat on him.
I've always said when Torres left, and I've told this to many Liverpool fans, that was the day I stopped kind of, for want of a better word, like worshipping a player. Hooking myself onto one, going, he's the man. Like when he said, like, I'm staying at the end of January, he was like, I'm leaving. That was it. I fell out of this thing of just concentrate on the team. That's what I do now. I don't have a particular player, but if I had to pick one, everybody'd go for Salah, I think, because of the goals. It would be Van Dijk. He is such a top professional and an absolute colossus of a man. It'd be like, he is fantastic for Liverpool.
I 100% agree with every word of it. I think with Van Dijk, I don't think there's been a more transformational signing by our club ever.
Oh, yeah.
Remember where we were just before him? Mignolet couldn't catch a corner. Lovren kind of getting caught under the ball when it was coming over the top against Spurs. We've struggled in that space. And from his debut, it was in the FA Cup, wasn't it? I think against Everton. Amazing, hasn't he? Since just an absolute, I done the same. I was devastated when Torres left. I thought, how will I ever get over this? And then I fell in love with Suarez. And then when Suarez left, I was like, how will I ever get over this? And then Van Dijk walked into my life. And he's never leaving. We can't let him go. West, which two do you keep and who do you choose to leave?
Of course, Trent is going to leave. So I picked Salah and Van Dijk because I think Salah's consistency can be replaced, and Van Dijk's captaincy and the way he's holding the defense cannot be replaced too. It will take time. So Trent, of course, I like the player, but then as what King said, I also loved Coutinho. I was like, yeah, he's not leaving. Coutinho was my number one player. Like, I love Philip Coutinho. And then he joined Barcelona. I saw him with the Barcelona shirt. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I care about my club, not about the player anymore. So keeping those two, it can just help the club, to be honest.
That Coutinho sale was just bonkers, wasn't it? I think it was the Nike store that started selling his shirt before it was announced. And you just think to yourself, well, it's obviously going to happen now, isn't it? And then I think it was 48 hours later or whatever. We'll just kind of like close with, well, two things really. Thank you for the 3,000 people who are kind of watching. As I've said before, we appreciate every single one. If you can hit the like, subscribe, notification-y stuff. I'm not good with social media. But if you can kind of like do all that, that'd be amazing. Thank you. And last, I'll probably just ask the panel, if that's okay. Jay asked a good question that I was kind of like thinking about. It was basically, would you take a point at the... Here we go. Big question. Do you take a point on Sunday against City away? Because straight away, I'm thinking swear words, and then I'm thinking... no. And then I'm sticking with no. I wouldn't take a point. I think they're there for the taking. What about yourself, Kings?
Yeah, I think, funny enough, as Mercedes said it there, it's like, I think it's exactly the same. They're there for the taking. They'll be on a downer in one part from this week because they've been heavily beaten. They'll be on the other side. They'll be like, right, we've got to come back against our rivals now, and we've got to show that we can be the same as them. But they are there for the taking. Our away form the last couple of games hasn't been the best, but I think Slot really needs to kick them up the arse for this and say, right, this is it.
Yeah.
If you want to be these heroes this year, these are the kind of games you've got to go into this and get it done. No ifs, no buts.
Biggest game. I feel nervous. I feel sick. Biggest game.
I feel better if it was at home, but... I
know. Do you know what? I had it at the back of my mind, and nice one, Jay. It's now right at the front of my mind. Thank you for that. West should take a point on Sunday.
You know, like you see what you're saying, Greg. Like I'm actually also nervous about this game. I didn't want this game to come. I was nervous about yesterday, but then it got even worse. If like this yesterday we won, I was not be calm. But then now I really don't know if I want to take a point or take a lose. I just don't want to see the game, to be honest, because like the problem I have is we leaking goals, and like that's an issue to me. So I really don't know. I'm gonna be the only one who says I don't know, to be honest. I hope for the best. Like I'm gonna just say that. Like I don't know. Like I'm stressful now. Like I'm losing weight, to be honest. Like my friends are questioning me.
I just love an easy game. At some point, it just feels like week after week after week. I just
can be 3-0 up after like 10 minutes. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you sit back, enjoy the Reds, but that's not the life we live, is it?
I was going to say, even for 80 minutes, Greg, it was like we'd still be on 10 times then, just in case.
I know. Palace away, just in the kind of back of my mind. Thank you so much for the 3,000 people that have come to watch us this afternoon. An absolute pleasure to spend time with you all, but also a pleasure to spend time with Western Kings. Thank you both for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone else. Make sure that you follow, subscribe our channels. We look forward to seeing you soon. We've got a stream going at 7:30 tomorrow, and I look forward personally to seeing you next week. Have a great evening, everyone.